Hello, in this tutorial we will be doing the Ikea sideboard. It's a nice piece of furniture. You can find it on the Ikea's website. It's called Malsjo under sideboards and buffets. If you go to product information down, you can find here the dimensions in inches and centimeters. And down here you will find a PDF file with the proportions of the furniture and all the details of the construction. So this is very useful because you don't have this information on the photographs. So let me set up the page. Under Customize, change the unit setup to centimeters. Download the graphic with the dimensions so you can use it later. We're going to start trying to get the overall dimensions of this furniture: 145 centimeters by 92 high and 47 deep, or 48. So right now let's just draw a box to get the height at 92 centimeters. The other dimensions are not important. Only the height is useful for now. Now let's start with the base. It measures 47 deep by 144 wide. The height I am going to estimate at 8.5 centimeters. So let's just draw a box. This is just a reference box. Right click here and here to center the box. Next, we need a reference box for the top. 145 by 48. I will use a different size, slightly different, just to make it better. I will explain that later. If you use 47.52 centimeters for the depth, you can leave the width at 145. The height will be 3 centimeters. Center it again and move it to the top. Like I said, we're just trying to get an idea of the overall size of the furniture. And notice the back pieces, they all align towards the back of the furniture. So I'm going to move the top to align with the base. This way, it's centered much better, as you can see on this little square here. Next, we need to know where to place the side frames. By looking at the photograph, I will estimate the distance from the edge. If we look at the PDF file, you can have an idea of the shape of the profile. We will do this later, but this is just a reference to see about where the leg is going to be. On the top view, I guess the distance to the side frame is about 1.7 centimeters. So make a rectangle 1.7 by 1.7 centimeters. And then let's move this to the top of the base so we can see it. Place it on the corner first, and then move it to the top, just a little bit above the surface. This is our reference distance. Looking at the photos, I guess the size of the frame is roughly 4 by 3.3 centimeters. Let's make a reference box measuring 4 by 3.3, and you can make it 4 centimeters high as well. We'll place this box on top and just about that corner where the reference box is. Again, this is just another helper box. Now I will make 4 copies and move them in these areas, one on the back, and then repeat this process to the top. Okay, now we need a rectangle for the drawer. This will help us see where the support piece goes, the one in the red line. We know that the size of the drawer is about 20 by 67 centimeters, so we can make a rectangle that size, and we'll move it up. So now we know the support piece goes just below the drawer. I'll make the real support piece, estimating the depth, and I'm going to place it aligned to the front of the furniture. The support that goes in the back is aligned not with the back of the furniture, but slightly halfway into the leg, as you can see with a red arrow. This is just leaving a little bit of space for the rear panel. Now, you can draw the center supports now, or you can do it later, but you can do it at 2 centimeters thick, and we will adjust the actual space in the front later when we make the front drawers and the doors. This can be done later, and also you can make the final corrections at the end. Well, time to make the back panel. You can make one that fills the entire back of the panel and make it about 6 millimeters thick. 6, 7, doesn't really matter. But it's just a thin piece of, I suppose it's cardboard. Great. Now we can start modeling the base. To help with the proportions, I use a small rectangle here. 1.8 by 2.3. The photos on the PDF file show the shape of the profile here. You can see the curve on the other side over here. So we will try to draw that. Starting with the line, press Shift as you move the line to make straight lines on the front view. And draw this shape. At the back here, this step here is meant for the top of the base. We will edit the lines using the fillet. Let's move this down a little bit. And using fillet, just give it a curve. All we need to do is just give curves to these 2 vertices. We can name this base profile. Next, we can draw the frame profile. Again, I'm going to need a small helper here. This size is very important. It's 1.1 centimeter high. This shape is very similar to the one at the bottom here. It's just a little bit smaller. But we will have a panel in the back, so we will start somewhere at the bottom here, up a little bit, turn, and then we turn right here again, it's a small piece, and then here we create a small step and close this. The step in the back is to receive the panel or the glass. So again, we will move this a little at an angle like this, and we will use fillet to make a curve here and here. You can label this as the frame profile. Great. Next, we can do the profile for the top of the furniture. If you look at this drawing on page 46 of the PDF file, you can see the shape of that profile. We will just use straight lines mostly. And try to copy something. You can add a note here. And then the bottom of the furniture can go just a little bit to the right. Again, edit the vertices and turn this into a curve using fillet. You can leave that top profile. All right, now select this profile at the base and the base box and isolate them. We will draw the actual base now. Draw a three-sided line, and you can use snaps to connect to these vertices. You can turn on and off snap by pressing S. Let's apply sweep to this line and change to use custom section and pick the profile we made. Now you have to align it. It's better to align it this way than using doing it by hand. Remove the other piece, and again, we could have done this whole thing in one piece, but I like to do it individually, just the way the furniture was built, in case I need to make some changes or add some mapping, etc. So using this line in the center and tracing with snaps on, make a four-sided square, convert it to an editable poly, and apply shell. Shell is an easy way to add thickness to the polygons. Correct this so that it doesn't go much higher than the actual profile. And that will be the base. And isolate. Let's do the same for the top of the furniture. If you remember the steps, select the profile and the top and isolate them first. And then on the, I suppose we can use a line on the, to trace a three-sided line. Move it to the bottom here, or align it with the bottom. And use sweep the same way we did before. This one seems to be already aligned. Convert it to an editable poly. Select these two edges and bridge them. That will be our top for now. Now, for the most important piece, we'll do the frame. Use the boxes for reference we made before, and you make a rectangle using snaps. apply sweep and align it. Again, pick the profile we made. Here on the alignment, you may have to flip this 90 degrees to match the orientation. Make sure that smooth path is not checked. All right, that looks good. Next, we can convert this to an editable poly. And we are going to create the sides at 4 centimeters. Select both left and right edges or polygons and apply extrude at 4 centimeters. Now it's better if you isolate the item so we can work on the top and the bottom. Select the top polygons and the bottom polygons and extrude them by 4 centimeters also. Now to create these lines, you select these polygons and bevel. Use bevel, and it can be a very small amount. This is practically what this type of furniture has, maybe a laminate, and laminates are maybe a couple of millimeters thick, or a millimeter or less. And depending how much you want to see this line, you can vary and try the angle and the distance. That will be all for this for now. Now we can add the back panel to the frame. Again, you can edit by selecting one of the lines in here. Loop. Make sure it's linear. And now you have to select the line you made from the list here. So you make sure you don't select the furniture, the frame, rather just the line you made. Apply shell. Make sure the shell thickness is on the right side of the panel. On the correct side. And that will do for the left frame. You can make a copy, a mirror image of this frame and place it on the other side. I will cut and continue the image in a second. From here on, the rest of the panels or the drawers and the doors is just a matter of making a copy of the frame and change the orientation, spin them around 90 degrees here, and then resize it by editing the vertices. So the drawer here has to be aligned with the front of the left frame. Leave a little bit of space. Do not touch it because these are drawers that they need a little bit of a gap there. Convert this to a poly and resize it to fit the area right inside that center, the center brace we made earlier. So when you extend this towards the center, I looked at the images, of course, and the drawers meet at the center, but they do not overlap. They stop a little bit short. This color image is the same thing. I just forgot to add the glass in the center. And that's why you see this in a different color. So the drawers and the doors are thinner. So we're going to correct the thickness. Maybe we can go on to this view here. You can see the image showing the thickness of the door is a little bit less, maybe in the proportion of 2 to 1, about that kind of shape. Okay, so now that looks good. Let's do the same thing to add the panel on this one by selecting one of the lines and making creating a shape from the selection, making sure it's a linear line as well. Select it from the list here, and then let's add shell. Okay. Let's make a copy of this frame to make the door now. The only difference on the door is that in the door, when it comes to the center, they actually overlap because one door will go behind the other door. Let's add a glass panel the same way. Apply shell. After this, we can make a copy to finish the other door. So make an instanced copy and place it just behind the other door. Leave some space between them. Ikea shows these doors with small wheels underneath. I think that's pretty good. Oh, I noticed something. We need to finish a little bit better this. Select these edges and we'll bridge. The back doesn't need to be closed, but that's good. So after I organize myself and I gave some names to every piece here, I'm going to add some materials and we're going to see how good it came out in terms of the proportions. We'll compare this with the Ikea's photograph. Ikea says it's made of laminates and some type of glossy paint or lacquer. So making a black shiny finish. Now we'll check on the proportions here on a side by side with the Ikea's image and see if they look similar. So I think that's pretty good. I'm using V-Ray lights on a V-Ray rendering. I will come back after I finish this room a little bit and then we'll render it. I'm just making a simple setup. You may check the other tutorials I have for the drawer knobs and for the door slider knobs. I'm using just brass for the knobs. And that's it. Yep, that's all for the sideboard from Ikea. It's a nice piece of furniture. You know, using profiles and sweep is really a great and easy way to make furniture. So have fun. Thank you and goodbye.